Hello everyone, welcome back to Trading Edge. So in today's video we will discuss about another important chart pattern, and that is the head and shoulder pattern, which is of course a reversal chart pattern. So in today's video we'll dive deep into the head and shoulder pattern, where we should use the head and shoulder pattern, how we should use the head and shoulder pattern to effectively trade into the markets, and also how to find high probability trade setups using head and shoulder pattern. Okay, so before we start, do hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel if you are first time watching my videos. Okay, so let's start. So what is a head and shoulder pattern? The head and shoulder pattern, the schematic and the pictorial graph looks like this. This is a typical or a textbook like head and shoulder pattern. What is this indicating? That after this last swing low in this uptrend, market couldn't continue its upward momentum and it made a lower high and it broke the last swing low and it changed its trend from up to down. Okay, potential trend reversal setup. Okay, so head and shoulder pattern is very effective in a uptrend. After a long uptrend, an established uptrend, if we find a head and shoulder pattern, then we could say that we should now look for potential trend reversal setups and trade in the downtrend. Okay, so head and shoulder pattern is a trend reversal chart pattern. It is very effective if we find head and shoulder pattern after an established uptrend in the markets. Okay, so this is indicating that buying pressure is getting weaker in the markets. After this last buying leg, prices couldn't make a new high in the markets, and prices, by making a lower high formation, broke the last swing low and it changed its trend from up to down. Okay, so this is a potential trend reversal trade setup. Okay, and what is a inverse head and shoulder pattern? The inverted head and shoulder pattern is just the opposite of the head and shoulder pattern. Here it is indicating that sellers are losing momentum in the markets and prices are not able to continue its downward momentum by breaking the last swing low. So we can say that prices are making higher lows and continuously testing the resistance zone, indicating that demand is very strong at those price areas. So such kind of pattern is known as inverted head and shoulder pattern. And also remember, the inverted head and shoulder pattern works best after a established downtrend in the market. So prices have fell off sharply from a particular price point, and then if we find a inverted head and shoulder pattern, we could say that now prices could reverse its trend from down to up. Okay, so the inverted head and shoulder pattern is an indication that sellers are losing momentum in the markets and buyers are getting very stronger. So we will look for potential trend reversal trade setup. Okay, so I hope you understood the head and shoulder pattern and the inverted head and shoulder pattern, its pictorial and graphical representation. Now we will discuss about the charts and dive deep into the head and shoulder pattern so that your doubts are absolutely cleared. So now let's look at the first example. See, strong uptrend, then we saw a head and shoulder pattern, and see, after this breakdown of the last swing low, prices fell off sharply. Okay, now we will dissect deep into this chart. See, prices were in a very strong uptrend. See the buying momentum, very strong buying momentum in this uptrend, and the selling pressure was very weak. Okay, but what is happening? See this selling pressure in this uptrend. For the first time, prices sold off aggressively from this price areas. Okay, so this is indicating that this price area supply is very strong than the demand side. That's why in this strong uptrend, prices fell down sharply from this area. So we could say that this supply zone is very strong, and also now prices broke down this trend line with a very strong candle. And then when prices again touch this swing low, buyers couldn't continue its upward momentum by making another higher high, which is an indication that bulls are losing momentum. See the buying pressure here, see the candles. It is indicating that buyers are losing momentum in this overall uptrend. Okay, and then this support is getting tested multiple times. See, so this is also an indication that the sellers are very strong in this price area. And also we find a head and shoulder pattern formation after a trend line breakdown, also support testing multiple times. Selling pressure is very strong, and then broke down, sell here, SL, and see the huge downside momentum after that. Okay, so now let's look at another example. See, very strong downtrend, but what is happening? After this price area, prices couldn't continue its downward momentum, which is indicating that this area demand is very strong than the supply side. That's why we saw a sharp buying momentum after that. Okay, this kind of buying we haven't seen in this downtrend. See the selling pressure, strong selling pressure, and the buying pressure was very weak. Okay, but now for the first time we saw a strong buying momentum in this downtrend, which is an indication that bulls are now very aggressive in the markets. Okay, and then what we saw a higher low formation. Prices are continuously making higher low formation, and it is testing the resistance zone. Okay, see, prices sold off aggressively from this price area, then buyers again tried to break this level but rejected. Lower high formation, and again prices fell down sharply from this price areas. Okay, so we could say that this area is very strong for the sellers. Okay, after this buying side and buying pressure, again sellers tried to push the prices towards the downside. Okay, but continuously prices are making higher low formation, which is an indication that demand is very strong than the supply side. Okay, and also we find a inverted head and shoulder formation set up here, and see, multiple times this resistance is getting tested. So this is also getting very weak, and then we saw a sharp selling momentum. Okay, if sellers are very strong, then after this sharp selling momentum, prices should have broken these levels and continued its downward momentum. But what is happening? Even after the strong selling, next day prices opened gap up and broke this important structural horizontal resistance with very good candle. Okay, so we'll enter here with stop loss just below this breakout candle and see the huge upside momentum after that. Okay, so I hope you are getting this very important points what I am sharing with you. Okay, see, strong buying momentum, strong uptrend, then head and shoulder formation, breakdown, sell, stop loss, see the trend change. Okay, so head and shoulder works best after an established uptrend in the markets. Do remember that. Okay, see here what is happening in this uptrend. The buying momentum is very strong buying momentum. Okay, and the selling pressure is very weak. So this is an indication that demand is very strong than the supply side. That's why we are saying very strong buying momentum in this uptrend, and the selling pressure is of poor quality. Okay, then for the first time we saw a sharp selling momentum in this overall uptrend, which broke this trend line. Okay, this trend line is tested once, twice, and third time. After testing, it broke down this level, so which is an indication that now trend could potentially change from up to down, or it could become sideways, or it can make a complex pullback, and then it could continue its upward momentum. So this is an indication that prices now could halt for some time, okay, because of this strong selling momentum first time in this uptrend. Earlier the selling pressure was very weak, but now for the first time we are seeing a strong selling momentum which broke the important trend line in this uptrend. Then what is happening, see, this support area, buyers tried to defend it. Again they tried to push the prices towards the upside, okay, but the selling pressure here was very strong, and again when buyers tried to push this towards the upside, again sellers pushed the prices aggressively towards the downside and broke this important trend line, okay. So there are multiple confirmations. See this chart pattern, this is head and shoulder chart pattern, and also we find a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern also here, okay. So there are multiple confirmations. You should always look for multiple confirmations before placing an entry in the markets, okay. So if you find multi confirmation trade setups along with chart pattern formation, that trade becomes a high probability trade setup in the markets, okay. So you should always combine multiple factors before placing an entry. So we'll enter here with stop loss just above this swing high and see the huge downside momentum after that, okay. So now let's look at another example. See, strong downtrend, okay, but what is happening, see, prices are forming inverted head and shoulder formation with resistance testing multiple times, okay. And also see, after this strong selling pressure from this resistance zone, when buyers again push the prices aggressively towards this resistance zone, sellers couldn't continue its downward momentum aggressively, so which is an indication that the buying momentum is very strong and the selling pressure is now very weak. Because first time what happened, when prices broke down this support zone, it took a pullback, and then we saw a sharp downside momentum from this resistance zone. But what is happening, see this buying momentum, very strong buying momentum in this downtrend, which broke the trend line, okay. So this is very important. Prices broke trend line, okay, and then this is the strongest buying momentum in this downtrend. This is a very important clue. See, earlier the buying momentum was very weak, the buying pressure was weak, and the selling pressure was very strong, okay. But for the first time in this downtrend, the buying momentum or the buying leg is very strong and long, and then the selling pressure was very weak with multiple time resistance testing. This resistance is being tested multiple times, and prices are consolidating just below the resistance zone, okay. So this is an indication that bulls are very strong. Otherwise, if sellers are very strong, they should have continued its downward momentum after hitting this resistance zone, but prices are consolidating below this resistance zone, and then prices broke out with a very strong momentum candle. We'll enter here, stop loss here, and see the huge upside momentum after that, okay. So now let's look at another example. See here what is happening, lower high lower low formation, okay. So it means we are in a downtrend, but after that what is happening, after this low, prices started to form higher low formation. So this is an indication that from this price areas, demand is overcoming supply. That's why prices couldn't continue its downward momentum by breaking the last swing low, okay. So this is the first clue, okay. Then what is happening, from here prices again sold off aggressively. Okay, again buyers tried, but again sold off aggressively and broke this last important swing low. Okay, but after this strong selling momentum and also after the breakdown of this swing low, prices couldn't continue its downward momentum. Okay, you should analyze everything in the markets. You should analyze every price data the market is showing us. Okay, see what is happening from here. Prices sold off aggressively. Okay, then again buyers tried, but again prices sold off aggressively from the same supply zone, and this time it broke the last swing low, so which is an indication that sellers are very, very strong in the markets. But even after breaking this swing low, prices couldn't continue its downward momentum. Okay, if sellers were very, very strong, then after breaking this swing low, prices should have continued its downward momentum. But what is happening, after breaking, prices immediately reversed and then started to sustain above this support area, so which is an indication that it was a fake out. Okay, and then again buyers push the prices towards the resistance zone, then again sellers tried, but now what is happening, prices again started to form higher low formation, and then we saw a potential fake out by the institutions, and then prices are continuously testing the trend line resistance area and also the supply area also. So this is an indication that buyers are very, very stronger or aggressive than the selling side. Okay, that's why prices are continuously touching the supply zone and it is also testing the resistance zone multiple times. Okay, and this time we saw a weak selling momentum. Earlier from this supply zone we saw a very, very strong selling momentum which broke the last swing low, but now what is happening, we saw a weak selling momentum in the markets and also we saw a higher low formation, and then we saw a inverted head and shoulder formation in the markets. So we'll buy here, stop loss here, and see the huge upside momentum after that. Okay, so I hope you are enjoying this video, okay, and getting some very, very important information. So do note down in your notebooks. See, proper uptrend. See this beautiful uptrend. The prices have gone up. Okay, very, very strong uptrend. Then we saw a very, very sharp buying momentum, potential fake out, then strong selling momentum, multiple times support testing, breakdown, sell, SL, see the huge downside momentum after that. Okay, so see here what is happening, same case, prices were in a very, very strong uptrend and the buying pressure was very, very strong, so indicating that demand is overcoming supply very, very aggressively. Okay, but what is happening, see this huge upside momentum. After this strong buying momentum which broke above this trend channel resistance line, what did the prices do? Prices sold off aggressively for the first time in this strong uptrend, so which is an indication that bears are getting stronger in the markets and they are coming very, very hard. Okay, so what is happening, after this strong buying zone we saw a strong selling momentum and it was a potential fake out in this trend channel, and then after this strong selling momentum the buying momentum was very, very weak. Earlier from the same area buyers pushed the prices aggressively towards the upside, but now after this strong selling momentum the buying pressure is now very, very weak, so which is an indication that demand is getting weaker and the supply is coming in the markets. And then we saw a head and shoulder formation which is also testing the support zone multiple times and then broke down this trend channel support, also the horizontal structural support, enter here, stop loss here, see the huge downside momentum after that. Okay, so now let's look at another example. See, strong downside momentum, strong downtrend. Okay, but what is happening here? Prices form an inverted head and shoulder formation. Okay, see, beautiful inverted head and shoulder formation, multiple time resistance testing, trend line breakout, buy, SL. See the huge upside momentum after that. Here what is happening, prices were in a very strong downtrend. Okay, see this downtrend, strong downtrend. But what is happening after this strong selling pressure, prices couldn't make another swing low, so which is an indication that supply is getting exhausted in this downtrend. Okay, so if sellers were very strong, so after this strong selling momentum, prices should have continued its downward momentum. But what is happening, we saw a strong buying momentum after this fake out. Okay, so you should combine multiple factors. Okay, and then again sellers tried to push the prices towards the downside. We saw a very strong rejection candle and then a breakout. How many times this support is tested? Sorry, this resistance once, twice. First time what is happening, we saw a strong selling momentum, then we saw a weak selling momentum, and also prices broke above this trend line resistance. This trend line is very important. See, strong selling momentum from this trend line, strong selling momentum from this trend line, strong selling momentum. But for the first time in this downtrend, prices broke above this resistance zone and took a pullback, and again testing the last swing high. Okay, and then we saw a higher low formation and also inverted head and shoulder formation with rejection of the lower prices, and then a breakout. Buy here, enter, stop loss, huge upside momentum after that. Okay, see here, after this parabolic up move, prices started to form lower high, lower low formation with continuously testing the support zones. So it is an indication that sellers are very strong than the demand side. Okay, and also we saw an inverted head and shoulder formation here. See the strong selling momentum, with multiple times testing the support area. So which is an indication that bulls are getting exhausted and the supply is very strong in this downtrend. Okay, and then prices, after making another lower high, it broke down this support zone after testing multiple times. Enter here, stop loss here. See the huge downside momentum after that. Okay, so you should combine multiple factors before placing an entry. Here we find multiple things. We saw strong selling momentum coming in the markets, and prices are continuously testing the support zone, and we saw low and inverted head and shoulder formation, and prices were making lower highs. Strong selling momentum, weak buying momentum. See the buying momentum, the buying pressure is getting weaker and weaker each time. See, first time the buying momentum was very strong, then it became weak, then it became very weak with continuously lower high formation. So there are multiple factors. You should combine multiple factors before placing an entry, and then only we will find a high probability trade setups in the markets. We will enter here, stop loss, see the huge downside momentum after that. Okay, see here, strong downtrend. Then what we saw a multiple time testing of the resistance zone. Okay, and then also we saw an inverted head and shoulder formation. Enter, stop loss, see the huge upside momentum after that. Okay, and also prices broke this trend line resistance also, and also we saw a bullish engulfing pattern at this trend line support area. Okay, so there are multiple factors, and then we saw a inverted head and shoulder formation, and also the selling pressure was getting weaker. See the selling pressure from here, very strong selling momentum in the markets after testing this resistance zone. But next time when prices again touch this resistance zone, it is not selling off sharply towards the downside, so which is an indication that bulls are getting stronger in this downtrend. And also we saw a higher low formation in the markets with multiple times resistance testing. Okay, and then we saw a very strong breakout with good momentum candle. Enter here, stop loss here, and see the huge upside momentum after that. Okay, so I hope you got something very important learning from this video. If you find anything useful in this video, so do like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also do comment down below if you find anything useful, and any doubt if you have in your mind after watching this video regarding the head and shoulder or the inverted head and shoulder pattern. You should definitely comment down below. I will definitely try to answer each and every of your questions there. Okay, so see you in the next video. Until then, it's bye from my side. Take care everyone. Bye.